This child is destined for the falling and rising of many in Israel, and a sign that will be opposed, so that the secret thoughts of many will be revealed, and a sword will pierce your own soul too. It's hard being a parent, and it's hard being a grandparent. It's hard getting old too. But there's much joy and beauty in life. That's what today's Gospel for Candlemas is saying. Luke shows us in this wonderful story of the presentation of Jesus in the temple, how joy and sorrow, youth and age, male and female, all go to make up life. Each are needed, each are valuable, each are important. Mary has the joy of being a mother, but she has to embrace the pain that parenthood inevitably brings. So Simeon's words predict. Children grow up, they become different people. Parents don't always understand. Joseph, as always, is there, the strong, silent type. No words of his are recorded in the Bible. Simeon himself, we are told, is beginning to face death, but he finds it possible to face the prospect of death with faith and hope. He has lived his life, and that life has been crowned by the sight of Jesus, whom he acclaims as the Lord's Messiah. Now he can die happy. Anna and Mary are both described as women who have known or who will know suffering and pain in their lives. Simeon and Anna are grandparent figures. Anna has gone through every stage of life as a woman, virginity, marriage, along with widowhood. She is also a prophet, and she can discern who Jesus is. Simeon and Anna are both needed. Grandparent figures, if you like. They were old, but they were full of joy at being able to see and even hold a tiny baby. So we have young and old, male and female. All generations are here. The child, the parents, and the older generation. They were united in their hope for the future of this child and what it would bring. We are told at the end that Jesus grew and developed as a young person. The child Jesus grew up, surrounded by people who lived the kind of lives that we live. This story is a favourite for many people because it seems to be filled with human characters with whom we can identify. Each in their own way is trying to find God and serve him. Nobody is doing anything strange or dramatic, just carrying out traditional rites and ceremonies. In particular, the scene cannot but remind us of parents bringing their children to church to be baptized, as we have Jesus being brought to the temple by Joseph and Mary. But this isn't Christian baptism, of course, though it looks a bit like it. But one thing is the same, whatever age the people present are, the focus is on the child, and therefore on the future, and on hope. As we get older, there is a danger that we might live in the past and dwell on our memories more and more, which we love to recount. Perhaps we feel we haven't got a lot of future to look forward to, and what we know of the future we don't much like the sound of. But Simeon and Anna weren't like that. They were focused on the future and the future fulfillment of God's plans. So they were alert, ready when the Messiah came in to the temple in the surprising form of a child of poor parents. The words of Simeon also mention darkness and light. After acclaiming Jesus as a light for revelation to the Gentiles and glory for God's people Israel, he goes on to say that Jesus will be subject to opposition and the cause of pain to some. This child, he says, is destined for the falling and rising of many in Israel, and will be a sign that will be opposed, so that the inner thoughts of many will be revealed, and a sword will pierce your soul too. The life of Jesus, as foreseen by Simeon, will involve misunderstanding and division. That's why this observance of Candlemas helps us to take our leave of Christmas and look towards Easter. Because the life and death of Jesus will cause people to ponder deeply in their thoughts, the thoughts of their hearts, and then to publicly declare where they stand in relation to Jesus. Jesus will cause the inner thoughts of many to be revealed. People will have to decide where they stand in relation to him, and the divide may well be a sharp one. For when he is an adult, this same temple, where he is presented as a child, will reject him and all he stands for. So are Easter eggs and hot cross buns in the shops? Well, if they are, perhaps we needn't be too critical. Because in the course of this gospel reading for the 2nd of February, the mood subtly does change. Christmas means the affirmation and blessing of our humanity in the birth of God's Son to poor human parents. That's how the story begins. But by the end, the atmosphere changes. We hear of decisions, a sharp division caused by a sword, or of the pain caused by a sword, and of the falling and rising of people, and of contradiction, opposition, not acceptance. And this points us towards Easter and towards the adult Jesus and how he will live and die and rise again. It points to Jesus as someone who asks us to decide whether we are for him or against him. It reminds us that the Christian faith affirms humanity and ratifies the dignity of the whole human race, but it also reminds us that we are individuals with our own thoughts and opinions. Each person is known and loved by God as a unique creation. So each one is faced with the challenge to follow the way of Jesus, a decision that has to be made by each person and renewed every day. And then at Easter, often, we renew our baptismal vows. So yes, today marks the moment when we move from Christmas to Easter. Candlemas helps us to go from the Jesus of Christmas to the Jesus of Easter, from the manger to the cross, from the crib to the crucifix, from the babe in arms to the risen Jesus walking in the garden. That's a difficult journey. And from now on, the church will help us to take that journey with the story of the Transfiguration on the Sunday before Lent, and then Ash Wednesday, and then Lent, Holy Week, and finally Easter. May God be with us on the journey.